are listening to The Radiator at Big Heavy World. I'm your host, Abby BK, and now begins Rocket Shop Radio Hour. And in the studio with us today, we have Breathwork. How are you all doing?
Good. Happy to be here.
Yeah, welcome back. So, Xander, you were here not too long ago, maybe a month or two ago. And we're happy to have you back with another project that you've been working on. Well, to start out, I always just like everyone with the different instruments to just say who they are and what instrument they're playing so that our listeners can know who they're hearing. So do you want to just go around in a circle? Maybe starting over here with Pat.
Sure. My name's Pat Markley. Today I am going to be utilizing my electric fretless bass with 4 strings, in case anybody was wondering.
Lovely. All right, here in the middle.
My name's Ethan Snyder. I will be playing the drum set. And I didn't know what to expect, but I'm very much digging the sound of this drum set.
Yeah, we got our in-studio drum set in here. Loving it.
And I'm Xander Naylor, and I will be playing the guitar.
Lovely.
Tonight.
And that's Breathwork for you. So how did you all meet, and what was the story of your origins for Breathwork?
Ooh, I'll start it. So I was back in Vermont during the pandemic. I was living in Los Angeles at the time, and Xander, I think, saw via social media that I was here, and he called. So this is at some point in 2020, and I was down near Orwell, and he's like, "Hey, man, let's play." And I was like, "Okay." And we made sure we were being safe about it, but we played duo. And then when things kind of started to open up, I had played a gig with Pat at Orlando's, and I was like, man, we need a bassist. Pat would be fantastic. Somebody started playing at my rehearsal space in Burlington, and it was fantastic from the start.
We started playing when there was like total lockdown still happening. That's what it was. Like, what was it, November of 2020?
Yes.
I mean, it was not possible for us to do anything in public except for a New Year's thing, Zoom. It was like a New Year's Zoom celebration practically.
Oh yeah.
So we we played for like several months basically only in lockdown, only improvising between 11 p.m. and like 4 a.m. It was like that. Like that's literally how we started. Yeah. Before we had any songs. So it was like, this was. I mean, it seems kind of like an exaggeration to say it, but like at the time, it was like we were just doing this because we like had to. We just had to make music and we had to improvise.
Yeah, and not go crazy during the pandemic.
And then it built, and then as Burlington came out of the pandemic, we just started playing more and more and kind of grew from there.
Yeah. That's really interesting, you know, as people have come in and out of the studio and talk about the pandemic and how it's affected their music. You see it, I feel like, on either side of the coin. Like, either it's really impacted them negatively and that they can't get out there, they felt stuck during that time, or it can be sort of what you're saying and like really fuel like you to get out and create with each other.
I mean, it was beautiful because like we did that New Year's gig, but other than that, like for probably the first 6 months that we existed as a band, there were no gigs that we had to prepare for. So there was no pressure to do anything. We didn't have to make anyone happy except for ourselves. We would just try songs, and some of them would work, and then some of them we would just rehearse and then decide like that's not happening anymore. And we never had to say like, oh, we have to get these 10 songs together for this gig that's next week. Yeah. We just stretched out. I mean, I know I can't speak for the other guys, but for me, the way that things have been going in like the regular fast pace of like a musician's life, like most of the bands that I was in, you rehearsed for a gig, and that was just kind of the way that you did it. And so it had been several years since I had been. It was like reminding me of being in like high school or college when I got to be in bands where we just played for the sake of playing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say I would, not to speak for him, but I think Xander's that idea of always having to prepare for something. I think that was very much, I would imagine, colored by you living in New York City at the time, right, where everybody's super busy and you're just grinding.
Oh yeah. It's like if you want to have a rehearsal, then you schedule it from 6 to 8, and it's like exactly 6 to 8. Yeah, and everybody's coming from another rehearsal and then has to go to another rehearsal afterwards.
I mean, there might be that same kind of vibe in Burlington, but I think that is kind of a bigger city thing where people don't really have enough time because if you're good, you're really busy, so you don't really have a time to develop a band rapport. which I think is
Yeah.
what's really, at least for me, very beautiful between myself, Xander, and Pat, is that we were given the time during the pandemic to develop that rapport, which my favorite groups have that.
Right.
So it's really special to me. Yeah.
Yeah, that is special. Would you say that it's kind of made this album feel more authentic to you too, since you were able to take the time to really connect musically with one another during that time as well?
I think there's a very common and visible thread from the original Inkwell that we were trying to draw from. And I think that because we've had this time and kind of the privilege, rather than just say, how do we prepare this song? Like, how do you play this song? How do you play that song? We get to ask ourselves, why do we play this? What is the purpose behind this composition? What is the purpose behind this performance? What are we trying to emote, express through our individual instruments? What are we trying to say to each other? And how does that come across as the audience? And again, that wasn't do we want them to like it? Do we want them to hate it? It's just we want to present something, and this is why we did it. So we could look at a song and say, this isn't how you play the song, but this is where it came from. This is a conception. This is why we felt it was necessary to kind of create that tapestry, texture, whatever you want to call it, how you want to name it or place it. But no, I really do think that there is a really definitive correlation in our intention and how things have kind of grown from there.
Yeah, I love that. You explained that very well. And what was your process for all writing together? So you all came together during this time. Did you just, start with, did someone just have like an idea that they came with and then you all just jammed on it? Was it a bit more like thought out before? Like what was the process of that?
Well, initially, as Xander mentioned, we were just improvising together. But then when it came to having songs being played, I don't compose. So it was these two guys, and they most certainly came in with pretty fleshed out ideas. So I'll let one of them jump in here.
Yeah, it's funny. We don't really we don't write as a band per se. Pat and I bring in tunes that they're usually pretty much done, and we might mess around with the arrangement here or there, but we had developed kind of like a band language for how we improvise and how we play stuff and how we kind of work together. And we don't have too many rules in Breathwork, but I feel like we developed the rule that's like musically, like you're kind of like no one's allowed to tell someone else what to do, really. Or if you try to tell them what to do, they're like allowed to say like, no, definitely not going to listen to you. So we just, we bring the songs in and they just turn into what they're going to turn into. They go through the washer and dryer cycle, and then they come out on the other side, and sometimes they shrink and
and let it take its form how it wants to. Anything to add to that, Pat, about the pieces that you kind of brought to the group?
Yeah, I guess compositionally, there are songs that we play that I composed outside of this group, but within this group, they take on their own different life form. There are iterations of compositions that I've brought to this group that they're just their own thing. Which is great because, like Xander said, we put it through the process, we put it through the wash and dry, and it has, that clean, crisp, starchy smell of Breathwork on it. And then you press the button and it comes along the little dry cleaner rack. It says, okay, we got this one, Breathwork, nothing like it. And it's a cool product. It's a unique musical experience. And then one of the songs, we'll probably play it today, I wrote it specifically for this group because I thought it would play to our strengths as members and instrumentalists. So it was as simple as that. That was my jumping off point. So it's like, what does Breathwork sound like to me in that moment? And that song came out.
Really awesome.
We could play a tune that I wrote for this band. We could do that first.
Yeah, sure. However you want to do it. I was going to say we could start playing your first tune whenever you're ready to.
Yeah, we'll do it. Let's do Amber. Let's do Amber. I wrote this. Sometimes I tell this story that we started this band right around the time that my son was born, and so at that time, I was like listening to a lot of drone music and thinking about how children. It's crazy. Like before children are even born, they're listening to music, and they just hear all this muffled music coming through the womb, and that's where this one came from.
That was Amber by Breathwork. So fun to hear your first song. So obviously this is the title track of your newly released album. So do you feel like this one like sets the stage in a way? Why did you choose Amber as the name of the whole project as well?
I'd say you nailed it on the head.
It sets the stage.
Exactly, yeah.
Lovely. And I also was curious, why the name Breathwork? Is there a story behind the name of your band as well?
I think it has to do with, working through things, improvisation. It's ethereal.
Yeah. Letting it flow. I feel like that's like the theme of this conversation, which I like. So tell us a little bit more about your debut album. Very exciting. So it was just released last week.
Yeah, just came out last Friday. It's available on all platforms, Spotify, iTunes, what else? Apple Music, everything.
Tidal.
Tidal. Yeah, it's Tidal.
Deezer.
And it's on vinyl. We got vinyl records, and you can order those from Bandcamp. You can find us on Bandcamp and order them there. And then we're going to have a party this Friday, the 20th, from 6 to 9 at the Vermont Music Lab out in Essex. So this is coming out this is the second release on the label attached to Vermont Music Lab called Music Lab Records. So we're kind of having that as a party there.
Yeah.
Bring people from the community in. Free show, free food, free drinks. Come hang.
Yeah, so exciting. And how long would you say it's kind of taken to figure out which songs went on this project? Like, are these like the main ones that you were focusing on when you were rehearsing during COVID? How did you end up kind of like choosing which ones went on the album itself?
I think these ones just made sense. I mean, we are most certainly a original music forward band, but we're not opposed to doing a cover. So I think it just happened naturally that there was 2 songs composed by Xander and two songs composed by Pat, and then we have been playing a few songs live by Neil Young, one of which is on the album, Old Man, which I often introduce. If you don't know that song, I can't help you. And then we also happen to do Harvest Moon, but I think we wanted something on the record, if it was going to be a cover, one of the Neil Young ones that, had real good dynamics. And I think that one live, we've really made our own. And, funny, I won't go long-winded with this, but Burlington, the scene in Burlington, a lot of people, both musicians and otherwise, were kind of flabbergasted that you could do a Neil Young song without a vocalist. And I explained that a good song.
I didn't even know that. I didn't know that.
Oh, I haven't told you about that?
That was a reaction that people were having? I didn't even. Yeah. This is news to me. I like this.
Yeah. I'm not going to give my opinion on that reaction.
People say different things to you than they do to me, right? That's what it is.
They might. They just might. But, I had to show people, believe me, it works instrumentally.
Yeah.
And maybe the listeners out there will have to, check out the vinyl themselves to find out if we succeeded in turning a song that is known for having lyrics into an instrumental. Wow.
Right. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
You'll have to listen to for yourself, listeners. But yeah, I mean, I do think that it's unique. Even in the bands that come through here, we usually do have someone on vocals with lyrics. So it's refreshing to have a band doing something a little bit different. But I guess my question with that is, how do you feel like you can still capture like a story with the music through just the instruments without having those lyrics or that vocalist?
I think Pat could probably answer that really well, because I feel like he always has a really good antidote of why his songs sound the way they do.
You're on the spot, Pat.
Yeah. I guess, there is, the story behind the song. And it's kind of the intention behind the story, how it makes me feel. And also, we all hear things in our head. So maybe you hear something, a nice melody in your head, and like, oh, you know what would accompany that very well? What does that sound like? And then you have to start calling things by their name. This is the bass part, this is the guitar part, this is the drum part, maybe there's an organ in there or something. So you start to quantify it and kind of like give yourself these terms where you can say, okay, it's still this object, this concept, this is the feeling attached to it, but at least I can start connecting dots in a concrete fashion. Sometimes I feel or have the idea of the sound already in my head, and it's just a matter of finding it. Yeah. Or it's oh no, I have the essence of this, but we haven't found that sound yet. So it's kind of I was about to say, never mind. It's a something shoot of I don't know what I'm allowed to say on the radio.
We're only online streaming now, so you can
a crapshoot.
Say whatever you want to say.
Risque.
Let it out.
Risque.
Now we just went into PG-13.
Yeah.
But so it's really up in the air, and I guess the best thing we can do in service to the music and musicians is to just try to understand it as much as possible, and not try to add too much or take away too much.
Yeah.
We have this chemical formula, and we say, okay, that's the song. It could be anything. A well-written song, like a Neil Young song, that could be a samba, bossa nova, that could be a metal song, it could be an instrumental song. But as long as the original intent is there, it doesn't really matter what it sounds like or how the pieces fall, I think. But, if it sounds good, it's good.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great way of putting it. You nailed it on the head. Get Pat to explain. Do you have anything to add to that, Xander? Because I know the last time that you were in here, we talked a lot about how you composed a film score. So you're obviously well-versed in also composing instrumental tracks as well.
Yeah, I was just thinking when Pat was talking, for me, just bringing out the lyrical quality in songs, it's mostly just take what the melody is providing and then try not to step on it too much. That's all I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
Usually if the answer is between playing 2 notes and play 1 note, then just play 1, And when it comes to Neil Young, it's like you don't want to mess up what he made because it's such a good thing, So just trying to respect the people who made the music first.
Right. Yeah, it's always interesting doing covers because you want to do them justice, but you also want to put your own spin on it. So it's like a balance.
Yeah, it's like it can be such a rabbit hole, and it can be like so tantalizing to try to like make it like so creative.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we all struggle with that, I think.
Right. Well, the nature of just not having the lyrics and the vocalist make it your own, I would say, in your style. Well, we would love to hear your second song. So what have you got for us?
You want to do Forgotten Lovers?
Yeah. Let's
speaking of melodies,
slow it
Yeah, I
down
was
a
about to
little
say,
bit.
that one's got a very lyrical
The
thing
Quiet
happening.
Storm. I'll give you two. Okay.
Forgotten Lovers by Breathwork. So, would you like to take us through a little bit more about your involvement with Vermont Music Lab and obviously your deep involvement, Xander, just for the sake of listeners to educate
Better get that
them.
mic back, buddy.
Yeah, get that
I'm in
mic
deep.
back.
I'm in deep. This is we mixed this record at the Music Lab.
Mm-hmm.
This was mixed by Ezra Oakland and Calvin Winslow Lane, and we're just excited to be putting this record out. And it's we're making the Vermont Music Lab. For those who don't know, the Vermont Music Lab is in the building that used to be Contois Music, which is on Route 15, right past Susie Wilson Drive. And it's a recording studio and a rehearsal space, and it's got we're running a record label out of there also. So it's we're just trying to create a community gathering spot where we offer services, but we're also trying to have a place where people can come and hang out and just be around music and bring different generations together, have kid-friendly shows, Come to the show on Friday and bring your 3-year-old.
Yeah.
See if we're going to stop you.
Totally. So tell us more about this release party. What do you have planned? What's in store? Good tunes.
We don't ever have any idea what we're going to do. We don't have any idea.
I do know, one thing I do know is that Xander and I tomorrow will be trying to make the place more show, not friendly, but we're,
Mm-hmm.
we're going to try to make it feel less like a show at a recording studio
Yes.
and more like something else.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's not going to be an easy feat, but I have
faith.
confidence in he and I, yeah.
It's a very
Yeah.
mysterious process.
Yeah. If anybody has any plants they want to bring by, I think plants would help the space.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe some cool antique lamps.
Ooh.
I wasn't able to acquire plants today, which was part of my task today. So,
Yeah.
Oh.
yeah.
Okay.
Well, we'll try to put in a good word to our neighbors over at the lamp shop, maybe.
Oh,
yeah.
that would, yeah. I mean,
we need a lamp
We could pill
sponsorship.
for this.
Yeah.
oh yeah. I do. They do have some lamps here, people watching at home. They do have some plants too.
Right.
Who knows? Maybe there'll be some brokering happening later.
For the record, Bob did point it out, so I take that as a sign of permission.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Yeah, it was
hot
Bob's
take.
doing
Hot
over
take.
there. So you have this release party coming up. And then in terms of like other gigs around town, where have you been playing? Do you hope to continue playing around more and really like spreading the word about the album? What are your plans with all of that?
That's a hard one because I live in Los Angeles.
Okay.
So, playing and
bi-coastal bands.
yeah. So what'd you say?
It's a bi-coastal band.
Yeah.
Yes, bi-coastal.
Yeah.
Very hip. I don't know what any specific plans are, but I know that we are looking forward to playing a lot of shows in a lot of places and
Yeah.
making another record.
Very fun. And is that next record, are you already starting to compose
Okay, let's
material
get
for
through
that?
Friday. Okay,
I know.
Let's get through the.
I know. Well, I'm curious. You're
We
already
got
talking
enough
about the
on it.
next thing.
Those guys can take. I don't compose, so you have to ask these guys what they have what they're cooking up.
Always cooking or
That's
taking a
yeah.
breather?
Yeah,
I'm waiting
You're
for a
always
good
cooking.
assignment. I need a good assignment personally.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
always cooking.
I am always
Yeah, he's a
cooking.
professional
he's literally
chef.
always
so
cooking.
yeah. Where are you cooking at, Pat?
Right now, I'd like to plug Pizzeria Verita.
Hey now,
Oh, yeah.
watch out.
I make the cheese in the morning. Where else? What other pizzeria places giving you hand-stretched mozzarella cheese?
Mm-hmm.
You just they can't hang with us. So come by St. Paul Street and experience the brilliance.
Oh,
Okay.
There you go. He's
Sorry, I
cooking
just
in
got
more
lost
than one
thinking about
way.
the cheese.
Yeah.
They're still open. If anybody wants to order, it's Wednesday. It's buy one get one free margarita pies. So they're not paying me to say this. This is free advertising. For them.
Yeah.
yeah.
Say less. I know Bob's over there thinking about it. Well, great. Yeah. Well, I mean, you have the entire U.S. span then, so lots of opportunities to maybe play in L.A. then too.
I mean, we're looking to expand to the world.
Yeah.
Even
Your
last
world
night when I was-
dominance,
I
perhaps?
There's
That
no
doesn't really
dominance
work
here.
well with breathwork.
Yeah.
Breathwork, world
No.
dominance.
World
World
meditation.
peace.
That's rough.
World peace.
World peace. Yeah.
We're
For
bring,
breathwork.
yeah, we're trying to bring inspiration and positivity among many other things to the
Yes.
world through our music, especially in the, dare I say, dire times that we currently live in.
Oh,
Right.
He went there.
I did.
Yeah.
But it's funny, actually, last night, you know, when you set up when you're properly setting up a Facebook page, you have to put in, like, you know, what your hours are, where what areas you service, I think is the term. And I went buck wild. I went Japan, I went Australia, I went Lisbon, Portugal. You know, I'm putting out into the world what I want to receive. So I was like, we're going global, baby.
Manifest
Breathwork
it. Totally.
2025. Let's go.
I love it.
Yeah.
There it is.
Yeah. Speaking of, maybe we'll play a tune that is about India now. Speaking about global.
Yeah. Let's do a tune that I wrote in a mansion on the beach in India. There it is. There it is. It's not what you think.
It never is.
It never is.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is Goa is a crazy place.
Where's that?
That's in India.
Okay.
Breathwork. So we are coming to the near end of the show here. And we always like to give all of our guests the chance to really plug your music and how to follow you and support you best. So the mics are yours, how to follow Breathwork best, and then if you want to plug your individual music too, or anything of the sort.
As you might have just heard before that last song, I was just spouting off about, we do have a Facebook page that is very, I think the health of it is maybe getting very good or excellent. I was seeing on the bars there. Oh, it's got bars? It's got bars, yeah. It's saying, you know, when I first got on last night, it was like not healthy, but now it's healthy because I added all those hours and where we're trying to go. So we have the Facebook page.
That's how they decide the health.
Yep.
Yeah, you have to start putting in all those like real bureaucratic type things.
Do we have an Instagram?
Yes, we have an Instagram. The Instagram is at Breathwork the Band. We have a TikTok at Breathwork the Band. We have a Bandcamp.
Breathworktheband.bandcamp.com.
And we have, our music's definitely on Spotify.
You can, if you look up any of our names, Pat Markley, Ethan Snyder, Xander Naylor, then you'll find all of us on Spotify and all that stuff too. So
yeah,
search engines are a beautiful thing.
Pat's got an album called Blood that you should check out. That's Spotify.
Everywhere, yeah.
Everywhere. I have an album called Happiness is Important that's on all the streaming services. Xander has multiple albums, and what's the newest one?
Hayseed.
Ooh.
Hayseed.
Yes, indeed.
Should we play Tuffle? We should play one more, right?
Yep, one more.
A little quickie.
A
little quickie.
Pat. This is Tuffle.
Yeah.
This is that one you were talking about earlier, right? That you wrote.
This was the manifestation of Breathwork in that moment for me.
Holy shit.
Nice.
Ooh.
This is the manifestation.
It's
of
a burner.
Breathwork.
It's a burner.
We just want to say thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming on the show.
You guys are awesome.
Pleasure.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
This has been Breathwork on Rocket Shop Radio Hour. Thank you all once again so much for being here in the studio. It was great to have you. And listeners, thanks so much for tuning in to Rocket Shop. Once again, I'm your host, Abby BK. Next week, we will not have Rocket Shop. We're taking some time off for the holidays, but we'll be back on January 15th with Fez Silk, so stay tuned for that. But in the meantime, happy holidays, and we'll see you next time. Thanks so much.
Hey.
Thank you.